never had it this bad in Nigeria, says Sanusi, former governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, and 14th Emir of Kano. Sanusi Lamido Sanusi on Thursday in Lagos expressed great concerns about the current state of the country, saying Nigeria and its people had never had it as bad as it currently is in Nigeria and in history. He said nothing seems to work again in the country, citing various issues to buttress his view. He said the level of poverty and hunger in the land is increasing daily, so the level of insecurity, corruption, rate of inflation, youth unemployment, gender imbalance, poor electricity, poor foreign exchange rate, corruption, and so forth. He said the worst thing is that the level where Nigeria was in 2015, when people were crying foul about the state of the country's socio-political economy, insecurity, inflation, and so forth, was far better than what the situation is at the moment. Sanusi gave this remark at the 7th colloquium of Akinjide Adeosun Foundation AFF to mark the 54th birthday of the founder of the foundation and CEO of St. Rachel's Pharmaceuticals Nigeria, Mr. Akinjide Adeosun. He was the guest of honor at the event, which also has Mr. Jimmy Agbaje, a pharmacist come politician, the secretary to the Oyo State government and wife of the celebrator, Mrs. Olubamiwo Adeosun. Speaking further and on the theme of the program, our leaders cast in Nigeria, it is so funny. I mean, imagine all these ex-leaders going to events and are asking our leaders cast in Nigeria, and you talk about it. It's so funny. And it's the same way, politicians, for example, Dino Melaye, I think he wrote a book about how to cure corruption in Nigeria or something. It's so ironic. It's like, wow. You'd see, if no one knows about these people, you'd think, wow, I mean, what a country, they're the ones that host the most conferences. I mean, you'd be thinking, so you are able to handle conversations like this, and this is what you do in the public, this is what you do to embarrass yourselves. Like, you'd be surprised, and they would engage in conversations and you're like, wow, you're like, you can engage in such complex conversations of the country you're meant to serve, and yet you're doing nothing about it. Interesting. So it's just, what can you do, to be honest? And it's funny, and because they will keep having conferences. They've always been having conferences. I mean, the amount of conferences they've had, even Yemi Osibanjo, I mean, there's so many conferences. Why? You're having conferences within yourselves and you're not doing anything. So what is the point of these? Because really, it's for the pictures and for the fact that you want to show that you talked about something relevant. For what? Or just another... And all these events, maybe do you know what? Maybe they're all secret events. Maybe the events will look like they're talking about something, but really the event was made for something on the ground to happen. I just believe that, because you cannot believe that these leaders are genuinely holding conferences about the problems of Nigeria. Our leaders cast in Nigeria. First, shut up your useless mouth. You bring this wicked government to power. I love this man. At least he spoke with truth. You brought this Buhari to office. Your bad record. You're very useless. I mean, it's very sad. And I don't think Nigerians have gotten to a place of anger where we are so intentional to get things done. I think there's an aspect of Nigeria. We just like what we can handle, we will handle it, right? And so I don't think Nigerians have been pushed. And I'm like, I get it. Maybe Nigerians would have a strong, hustling survival spirit. But to what extent does it have to be broken for us to get angry and literally make a change and not even care how the change comes? I mean, literally just be like aggressive with the change, aggressive with taking our power back, because we really haven't been. I mean, us even trying to go through this electoral process that we know is rigged, that we know we can't account for, is us trying to find peaceful ways to go around it. And of course, that is perfect. But it's like, the people you're fighting against, like, you need to know who you are fighting against. You need to know who is fighting you and who you're fighting against. because you are trying to play on a field whereby your opponent is not using the same rules as you, because your opponent is killing you, not being accountable, have not been accountable for so many years, approving funds, excessive funds to other countries in form of cars. Again, it's like the person you are fighting is fighting you, but not with the same weapons. I'm not saying that you have to do the same thing or stoop low or whatever. No, but I'm just saying we have to be realistic with the results that we want to achieve. You cannot be doing peace movement when the person that is fighting against you does not care about your well-being. It doesn't work. And for a lot of us, if we really wanted to face the truth about Nigeria, it means everybody would have to be very uncomfortable for a long time to facilitate the change. And I don't think Nigerians are ready for that, to be honest. I mean, just people the Nigerian professionals working for international corporations, to corruption from the lowest level, as corruption is just so integral to your survival. I mean, it would really mean breaking down the whole country and rebuilding it again. At this point, you might as well just say there is no country. As they say, there was indeed a country. So, it is what it is. This is the same man that caused over 4 billion naira to disappear from the account of Kano Emirates before he was deposed. He is now here complaining. It is more disturbing that the country's revenue is not enough to service debts, let alone meet people's needs. This is coming from a former CBN governor. This is where the party has brought us to, and they are still shameless enough to expect Nigerians to support them for another 4 years of suffering. Nigeria, shine your eyes. I mean, if you willingly, because genuinely I feel like we have to be realistic, okay? First 4 years, it was atrocious. It was just bad. 2019, I don't even know if there was an election, because for you to see how bad a government was, and for us to have, whether you think the votes are real or accounted for or you voted or not, for us to have we allowed it. Literally, I don't think if you allow something to happen smoothly, it would happen. For us to have allowed the same government to rule for another 4 years, it would not be surprising if APC is in power again. Genuinely, you cannot be surprised. With 2019 outcomes, you cannot be surprised, because in spite of the 4 years, people still supported Buhari like it's nothing. So let's be realistic with the country that we have. We may say and push for a movement, but the other can happen. Not that the other should happen, or we are pushing for the other to happen, but we cannot rule out the possibility of the other happening. And that is why I always say, do not ignore or undermine APC to a level that you help them be the underdog, because they will come out. I'm just saying. Because with the same Nigerians that voted in 2019, they are still the ones who are still APC supporters. May not be Buhari, but they are still sticking with the party. It's so weird. It's like the people that support a party and the party's candidates are different. Nigeria is confused. But what I think, and don't forget to like and subscribe.